Controversial take. You'll get more views, followers, and influence by not making content for years and using the extra time to accomplish something epic. Then make your content. That's a quote by Alex Hormozi. So we're back, episode 19. This is my first podcast in almost 3 years. And in case you don't remember, I am your host, Jacob Trainer, and this is a dive into my life, mostly focused around my time spent in the outdoors. I decided to post that quote in the beginning of this because I just recently saw it and I thought it perfectly summarized the reason for my departure from the podcast. So just a quick bullet point list of some of the things that happened while I was away. I took the number 3 all-time deer from the farm with a rifle. I got engaged, quit my job, moved to the farm. I built a house without a mortgage. I learned how the world works. Killed a hog in Oklahoma. Helped recover my dad's second biggest buck from the farm. Trapped another bobcat and coyote. Landed my dad's PB largemouth. Went back to Florida to complete my freshwater slam. Started a new job that I actually liked. Confirmed my faith. Started building an S10 drag truck. Rebuilt the buck hut. Fixed up a grain truck. Got a new piece of hunting property. Took an archery doe. Designed a new food plot strategy with new equipment. Got the S10 running. Caught a 5-pound bass from the farm pond. Verified its progress. Got married. Caught my PB largemouth. Took an axis buck in Hawaii with a bow. And that's pretty much the major things that have been going on while I was away from the podcast. Just my reason for being away, life really kind of abruptly changed. Pretty much shortly after the last podcast I released. I know I've intermittently posted some of the videos from like that buck I took and the trip to Florida and just a few small things like that. But as far as talking about them, I haven't really taken the time to do any of that. I've just really been focused on action. To me, that was a lot of stuff, a lot of big life changes and kind of outdoor accolades on that list in that time period. Might not sound like it to some people. That's all right. But yeah, I feel like, some of my biggest achievements in the outdoor world have actually happened in that time period, which may be kind of unfortunate that I did not talk about them. But I feel like that list would have been cut in half, honestly, if I were as focused on putting videos of me talking to them on YouTube as I was on doing them. So I think the action was just much more important there. Just kind of explain the situation of my life when I was doing the podcast. I don't know if I went through it before or some of you remember who personally know me. I was living in a basement, working a job on night shift that I hated, absolutely miserable, didn't really get along with my boss. It was just a really rough time period for me. And I had, I mentioned building a house without a mortgage. That's kind of been a plan of mine for a really long time, and I wasn't quite sure then how it was going to turn out. I had originally just planned on buying an acre somewhere kind of in the woods or 1 to 3 acres, something I could pay for in cash. And I had looked at a property before that was about 3 acres and just, I don't know, I had the cash, the timing wasn't really right. So I decided to just wait, and I just wasn't quite sure where I wanted the ground to be was kind of the big thing. So after talking about it with my family, it just, my mom had the idea to just have me here on the farm. And so that's kind of how that worked out. It was very fortunate. So yeah, at the time of me wanting to do that, and all those other things going on, I mean, how it literally broke down was I kind of just got completely fed up with the situation of my life. And so one day I quit my job. The next day I got engaged, and I'm pretty sure the day after that I decided that, we had talked about the whole farm thing for a while, but at that point that next day I'm pretty sure I just confirmed that, we decided that's what we definitely were going to do, was build a house on the farm. So yeah, that was a major project to take on. I had to find a new job, and we moved, and then the whole chaos of building a house. It's very taxing. And that year I didn't really get to focus on the outdoors too much. I think I took the boat out maybe one time. I'm sure I fished the farm pond, but that was about the extent. I didn't rifle hunt that year. Once we got the house done, I was able to archery hunt a little. With my focus just not being on the farm that year, the preparation wasn't really there. I don't think we had any standing food and a lot of snow on the ground at that time. So I don't even think I saw a deer that season, other than the one I helped my dad recover that he shot, which was a pretty funny story. We were literally working on the house, and he ran back to their house to get some tools. He's just like, I just shot a big buck when he came back up. I'm like, no way. And I don't know how we didn't hear the gunshot. But he's like, yeah, I'm serious. I just shot a big buck. So sure enough, we go and track it. He saw it in the woods, in between our houses. So then he kind of drove that way and got out and made the shot on it, and didn't see it go down or anything. It was in some really thick woods. So we started tracking it, and blood just kind of ran out. It didn't really have a great blood trail. So we started panicking and all that. And funny enough, my mom came and helped us. She was actually the one who ended up finding it, which I thought was pretty cool. I don't think she's ever done that before. So that was just, it was a good relief for how stressful the time was. And yeah, it wasn't my hunting accolade, but it was really fun to be a part of that. And it was just a cool old buck, and it really got me excited to finish up the house and get back into doing that again. But yeah, at that point too, when I moved, I took another really crappy job just to get some money flowing back in while we were doing the house thing. And it was even worse than the first job I had. Just the absolute worst work environment you can imagine. It was literally hell on earth. So I did that for about 8 months. And once we kind of got the house wrapped up, I decided to leave that. And so there's just like a lot of unknown going on in my life at that time. Just, like a little bit. We were doing okay, but just a little bit of financial stress. I didn't know if I was going to have to find a new career, do something completely different, because the industry I was in it really felt like it wasn't working out, and that's what I wasn't supposed to do. So yeah, at the beginning of the following year after we built the house, 2024, I found another job doing the same thing. So that was my third job in the industry that I had been working in, and it was the most money I'd ever made. It was, on paper, what most people would call like really good job, dream job, whatever. But the problem with it was night shift again, and every other week I had to work 60 hours a week. So just the stress it put on my body and the time it took away, it just really ended up not being worthwhile. And so I decided to leave that too, which was really hard. We had a paid for house, and I'm rolling in great money, and I knew long term it was just gonna dig me into the ground, and it was actively killing me, pretty much is how it felt. And I wasn't getting the time to enjoy the things that I love to do. So I just knew there had to be a better way. So I did that for a few months, and after I left, I just took a few months to kind of think, really focus on what I wanted my life to look like. And yeah, I just realized that I had to find something that, paid me close to what I was making, but really left the time open to enjoy my life. Money, when I don't know, other than buying gear and stuff, or if you want to buy land, I guess, being an outdoorsman, money isn't really the greatest thing in the world to you. It's the time spent in the outdoors. I know there's a lot of expensive equipment, things like that, but in terms of hobbies, it's pretty affordable to do. For the most part, there's things like public land, and you can use old equipment. A rifle would pretty much last you a lifetime. Money was not the big driving factor for me. I just needed enough to support us and our bills, but I really needed that time component opened up again. And I don't know if I've been told there's no such thing as luck. It's when preparation meets opportunity. I guess maybe that was the case. I took a lot of big risks doing all this. It's not like anything was super planned out. I just was trying things, and as they didn't work, if they were no longer serving me, I quit doing them. And that puts you in a really vulnerable position. Income is usually really important to most people. It's usually the number one driving thing. And I was just basically put that on the back burner for lifestyle. And yeah, I just really was committed to finding something that I could do that really let me enjoy the things outside of work. And I have no idea how I stumbled upon it, but I found another job that was for a weekend shift in the same industry. And so the weekend shift, usually during the week for outdoorsmen, everyone else is at work, so if you can get in there at those times, there's a lot less pressure on the animals. So that was part of it. Usually there's a little incentive for working the weekend shift, which there was in this case. So everything seemed really great there. I was just super hesitant at the time because it just really seemed like the industry was just not what I was supposed to be doing. In this place, I could tell almost instantly. My boss is incredible. He's a great guy. We have a lot in common, just lifestyle-wise. He lives on his family farm too. I could just tell this was completely different, and it really opened up kind of the technical side of my brain again. And all the other ones, I feel like people just really didn't give me the time of day. I don't know if that's because I was kind of young to be in that field or what. But yeah, once I found this job, I don't know. It was very nice to be, people to, kind of accept my skills and then have the confidence in me to, try new things and just really use my skill set, which I feel like was kind of neglected in all those other roles. So that was awesome. I did have to work 5 days a week just getting into it. That only lasted a few months. And then after that, it opened all my time back up for hunting again. So last year I didn't hunt the opener just because that was on a Saturday and all that, and I was new to the job. So I wasn't going to burn up what little vacation I had yet, which was a good thing because the whole Hawaii thing got planned a couple months later. So I didn't hunt the opener, but every day during the week, I hunted rifle season. It was awesome. It was a really rough year for us. We had a really good clover stand, but the other things I think we'd planted some milo and some beans, or maybe one or the other. That could have been separate years. I don't remember, but we planted some grain-based stuff basically, and didn't have any luck with that once again. the way we were doing it. So yeah, I mean, during the rut, I guess it doesn't really matter anyways for the food most of the time. But my dad actually took a shot on a buck, and it ended up being the first deer ever actually that we weren't able to find. And I think it was the same day actually. I think he took a shot in the evening, and then the morning I had an encounter with, I think he was a really nice 9-point. And I haven't posted the video yet. I probably should. But he came out perfect right to the scrape I was hunting. It was like in between 20 and 25 yards probably. And looked like he was gonna like make a circle and turn perfectly broadside. And right as he was making that circle, he kind of like backlighted me. Like I expected him to come in and go straight to the scrape and not make that loop. And so when he did that, I guess I had the camera up mounted too. Like it was just like a really probably unusual scenario for him to see in that tree, and it was kind of open. The light was on my face, so I was probably all lit up. Like it's just, I guess backlight was the wrong word, but it was really lit up, and so he picked me out instantly. And he didn't like blow or like dead run off, but he kind of just had a confused look and then just trotted back exactly where he came. He didn't even hit the scrape. So then my dad shot the one. It was a big one. Stacy was actually with him in the stand, and we tracked that thing. I think it was 1,000 yards that we found blood out to, and yeah, just no luck. We're thinking he ducked the string pretty hard. My dad had to grunt to stop him, I believe. So he was already on high alert. The decoy was out there. I'm not sure if he was kind of unsure of it or what, but he was coming into it. So yeah, that was kind of a rough one. And I ended up seeing one more good buck, I think, at the end of the first half of bow season, right before rifle season. He bedded down in the woods, literally right where my dad had shot the buck in 2023. So it was crazy. I grunted at him, snort wheeze. I tried everything with this buck, and he was just worn out or didn't hear me. I don't know. He was facing the other way, and nothing seemed to faze him. He was probably, I don't know, maybe 120 yards away through the woods. I just had a little opening. I could see his antlers. But he was right by the road. So like my dad left to go in town, and he drove right by him, and he's like, what? There's no way. So he like backed up to look again, and when we did that, the buck hopped up, which really kind of sucked. I wish he would have just dead saw him the first time. I might have been able to actually stalk in there and get on him. But hey, that's all right. So yeah, then the rest of 2024, we shot some does just for meat. And we end up getting that new property close by to hunt on. My dad took kind of like a management buck off of that. He had 4 on one side and then just straight up on the other side. Whether it's genetics or pedicle injury, whatever, probably wasn't going to be a trophy caliber deer. So he took that buck, wasn't a real old buck, just to take him out of the herd. And then, yeah, I don't know if he shot 2 or 3 does, all on the farm. And then I shot 1 doe on the other property, which I don't know if I just said or not either. The management style buck came off the other property as well. So it was kind of fun, kind of got to figure that out a little bit. And then, yeah, just over that time period, decided to come up with a completely new food plot strategy for this year. We tried the no-till thing in the past. It works great for basically anything green, I would say, all your greens. Clovers, alfalfas, what else did we have? We had some cereal rye in there, I believe, triticale, all that stuff. The buckwheat grew the one year. All that stuff it worked great for. But anything grain-based, it seemed we could not get it to work. We did it with beans, corn, Milo, none of that stuff we had any luck with. The corn, I don't know. Our soil here is not the greatest for clay-based soil, so like we've planted corn before with tillage and didn't fertilize it. I think it was sprayed at the time we were still spraying, and it would grow, but it wouldn't produce any ears. So basically this year we decided we're tilling again on anything we're planting in grains. And then we did some sunflowers too that we broke ground on. But like all the clover and alfalfa plots that we'd established before, we just left them the way they were and broadcast frost seeded back into them. We'll do a podcast, my dad and I will, especially as we keep going on with these. That's really just going to be the focus of the podcast anymore, is just probably whitetail hunting or like any trips, hunting issues. I really just want to be hunting focused anymore. I know before I talked a lot about like fishing and trapping and kind of my health story on getting back into the outdoors. And I feel like a lot of that I've already talked about. That was kind of a different time period for me. It's kind of just old news now. Diet-wise and stuff like that, I still do the same thing that I was doing then. 95% of what I eat is meat. I eat the honey off the farm and a little bit of fruit. Like, that keeps me super healthy, able to do all this stuff outdoors, and at work and whatnot. Physical stuff that I want to do. I feel great. So I don't really need to beat that dead horse anymore. But anyways, the food plot stuff, we kind of, just the geometry of it, I guess you'd call it, the layout and all that, we kind of did differently this year. And it seems so far, I guess we'll see as we get into season, but just like overall, it has definitely, without a doubt, increased overall deer activity and comfort around the farm. So it's pretty cool. We can kind of do like we did, I know on the one Food Plot Wizard episode that we did before. Maybe we can kind of get it on the whiteboard, or I can pull it up on the computer and just kind of section off like how we've done everything. But yeah, we are incorporating tillage again. And then instead of spraying for weed control, we bought an inter-row cultivator. And so that's how we're kind of keeping the weeds at bay. Just kind of, I don't know. The whole farming thing will be interesting to see how it keeps progressing. Like the no-till thing, I feel like was a very groundbreaking deal. And that stuff's super popular right now. But the unfortunate part is a lot of the people that are doing that are still spraying, especially for your grain-based things. So I don't know. Well, hopefully a perfect solution comes out. Tilling obviously isn't the greatest thing in the world. It really, there is some soil health consequences to that. But I just feel like it's the lesser of evils when it comes to spraying. So just for us personally, that's what we're going to do for now on our grain-based stuff. And yeah, you can't see it out the window, but we got a whole bunch of corn, sunflower, Milo this year. We still have the clover and alfalfa. And we're working on getting in some, one plot's already planted. We got one more to do as like a little hidey hole plot. It's got turnips and cereal rye, because usually those two have done pretty good for late season for us. So we got those going on right now. Unfortunately, we're not allowed to do all the mineral stuff anymore. All the people that were buying mineral, I've spoken to a few people, but unfortunately I wasn't able to get back to everyone. I'm sorry, but all the life stuff that was going on in that time period, I'm not doing the mineral sales anymore. We have I have to look up, it'd be good to have my dad here. He knows the exact numbers. Like 85% of the state of Missouri is under the CWD stuff where you can't use that anymore. So it just wasn't really, I kind of just used that to pay for our mineral usage. It was kind of my point in doing that. And since we're not really doing that anymore, no one else can do that for the most part. I've decided to do away with the mineral sales, which is kind of unfortunate. It was really fun. We had a great product. The number of people that used it, and I don't think I had a single negative review on it. Everyone that used it told me this works, which is great. We had a lot of luck with it. And yeah, even the old mineral sites, they still get hit every year. So yeah, so we're under CWD again. That's a big change in our hunting. That means no summertime feeding or mineral sites. We lost the antler restriction. That's probably another big topic we'll get into on another podcast. That'll probably be with my dad as well, because we have some opinions on that and just the whole way the deer herd in Missouri is being handled by NDC right now. It's very controversial. A lot of people not very happy with it. So yeah, that's probably where we're going to be at going forward. I'm in the process of putting together a Hawaii video right now from our hunt. I have both kill shots on video. I don't really have a lot of other alternative video from the hunt. We really focus on enjoying it. I actually have a lot more film of my dad's hunt than I do my own. But not everything's on there. That wasn't really the focus of the trip. We just really wanted to go and have a good time. And focus on, the success and getting our animal. But I at least do have both kill shots, so that's pretty cool. I hope to kind of find a way to put the video together to kind of tell the story. And yeah, that'll probably be the next podcast following this is I'll have my dad on and we'll talk about just our experience with the hunt in Hawaii. I took an axis buck and he took a mouflon sheep. Mine was an archery hunt, his was a rifle hunt. So just two completely different scenarios. And the way it worked out, I got to go on both hunts. So it was really awesome. I think it's the coolest thing I've ever done in my life. I would recommend it to anyone. It was with Arrow One Ranch in Maui. So those guys were great. We had such a good time. It's supposed to be a 2-day hunt for me, and it was a 1-day deal, which was all right, but it would have, I definitely could have done both days. It was so much fun. So yeah, that's probably what we'll be talking about next. But I saw that Alex Hormozi thing on social media, and that kind of really made me want to explain what's happened with the podcast and why I've been absent. And the summary of it is I've really just been, taking the time to, focus on the action and not so much the talking. I feel like a lot's gone on, probably the most that's gone on in that short a time period my entire life has happened then. So don't know that I would have accomplished half of that had I been focusing all my time and energy on making the podcast, but it is something that I do plan to bring back. Kind of gotten to a point where I'm somewhat caught up with the big stuff in life. I would just really like to start storytelling and sharing my experiences again, because hopefully people are still interested in that. I had a lot of positive feedback before from the folks that were listening when I was doing it, and hopefully this sounds different than it did the first time. I've really grown a lot as a person and just have a different outlook on life, a lot of different perspective, and yeah, just a lot of things that have really shaped me into a new man, I feel like. But yeah, I think before I kind of just felt more like a kid doing it, and now I feel like I've kind of grown and had enough life experience to kind of take a different angle on a lot of this. But I don't plan on talking too much life like I did before. If there's anything that anyone wants to know, I'm more than happy to share. But I really just want to focus on my passions of hunting again. So we're about a month or so away from Missouri bow season opener. So I have no problem shooting on the first day. Hopefully the season kicks off good. But yeah, we got that to look forward to. All the Hawaii stuff's coming, and just be on the lookout for that. I appreciate everyone for listening again. I wasn't sure if this was something that was ever going to happen again. I'd planned on continuing to make the videos here and there, but I'm really happy that I got the podcast going again. So yeah, thank you all for listening. Hope I didn't ramble too much, and we'll see you soon.